Jones has been truly outstanding against Duke. 24.5 points, especially at the end of a clock and at the end of the game. The ball is in his hands to be able to make decisions, and you've got to make good ones in guarding him because he can get to the rim and he can also get into your body and get to the free throw line.
The starting lineups tonight are brought to you by CDW. And we take a look at the starting lineup for Duke as they control the opening tip. 3 freshmen, 2 sophomores. Both of these teams are among the youngest in the nation. Louisville is almost as young as Duke is. And we'll say the same thing about North Carolina in the second game. Slazinski over the chop. Jalen Withers gathers, can't finish. And it's down to Wendell Moore Jr. Jay, as you well know, this is the 3rd meeting of the season between these two. Louisville has won each of the last 2. The last one going into overtime as Matthew Hurt strikes early.
Jalen Withers misses a shot on one end, had a wide open layup, missed it. And then he's guarding Matthew Hurt on the other. Matthew Hurt with that release on his shot. That release is so high, even if you're 6'10", it is hard to get a hand up there and bother him.
Carlik Jones, the transfer from Radford, first team all ACC this year. Gets it to Slazinski, who's working hard, and his effort pays off.
I think the Duke staff thought that Slazinski might have traveled there making that move, but I think you're going to see Louisville, if they get a switch, they're going to try to attack Matthew Hurt defensively at every opportunity. He's fouled out of both games against Louisville this year.
A couple of weeks ago, Duke looked like they were getting into pretty good shape, but they lost 3 in a row coming into the tournament, 2 in overtime, and then another game to North Carolina on the weekend. Louisville comes in off a loss to Virginia on the weekend. But again, the Cardinals, despite the up and down nature of their season, Jay, a couple of COVID pauses, some nice wins, couple of lopsided losses. Overall, they appear to have enough of a resume to get into the tournament right now.
I would think so. I mean, I think you're exactly right that you don't want to lose a game and leave it in the hands of the committee. They win this one, and I think it's a done deal.
David Johnson switches hands, can't finish, and the rebound for Mark Williams, who's definitely going to be a big factor in this game tonight.
Well, he was certainly a big factor on that drive in changing the trajectory of that shot by David Johnson. And David Johnson has been another guy that has played extraordinarily well against Duke in the last 2 years. Got away with a walk there.
And drops it in. Cardinals take the lead.
Johnson is so dynamic. And he's an excellent passer as well, but I don't think you're going to find a better athlete at the guard position than David Johnson.
Now you look at this backcourt of Carlik Jones and David Johnson. That's a pretty good start if you're Chris Mack, putting those 2 guys out there. Air ball from the corner for the freshman Jeremy Roach. Louisville in transition, and a block for Matthew Hurt.
Boy, the last possession, Louisville did a really nice job of helping and recovering.
How well is DJ Stewart playing recently? He led Duke with 17 in their lopsided win over BC last night, and he led Duke with 16 in their loss to North Carolina on Saturday.
Well, I think everybody thought that Duke was going to win the game against Boston College, but for them to make 15 threes and see the ball go through the basket was a big deal because they'd not been shooting the ball particularly well going into that game. Now take a look at some of this help defense here by Louisville in the last possession. You see Jalen Withers going to help off here and does a really nice job on this dribble handoff to stop it. Then he recovers. Carlik Jones tags the roll, Mark Williams, and then recovers back out to the shooter, and they wind up getting a missed shot because of that. That's just a really good job of team defense by the Louisville Cardinals on that last possession.
Hurt driving on Samuel Williamson, and Williamson commits the foul. Williamson's been playing extremely well for Duke recently, but whoever is matched up on Hurt has their hands full. And as you said, you gave the numbers, all the damage he's done against the Cardinals. Chris Mack is well aware of the problem that Hurt poses.
You know, the last 2 games, he's really not played all that well. Dre Davis going to get a foul there. He just wrapped up Matthew Hurt as he was trying to get around that screen. You know, one thing you don't want to do is pile up a bunch of fouls trying to keep Hurt from catching it. I mean, you got to play good defense without fouling. One of the big keys, I think, for Louisville is not just what they do with Matthew Hurt, but what they do with everybody else. You know, don't let other Duke players get started and get a lot of confidence on the offensive end.
Roach turns the corner, and that'll help his confidence as he lays it in with a left hand.
Last two, he's played pretty well, averaging just under 10 a game. But the important part for Jeremy Roach, 4 assists per game in the last two, and 1 turnover combined in those 2 games.
Jones, the 3 won't go down, and down with the rebound is Moore, who's been doing a little bit of everything for Duke's second half of the season. Rebounding, distributing, leading them up the floor. Really kind of a jack of all trades at this point of the year for the Blue Devils.
Well, how about that job that Carlik Jones just did going against Mark Williams? He wasn't going to be able to box him out, but he was able to keep that ball alive and knock it away from Williams so Williams couldn't get it.
And Dre Davis just picked up another foul, his second in the early going. The Blue Devils with an early 3-point lead. When we come back, tell you a little bit about the road trip the Blue Devils are on this week. ACC Network Basketball is brought to you by New York Life, helping people act on their love for 175 years.
And Mike Krzyzewski said, I just want to keep getting on that bus. And I'll tell you what, guys, if they shoot the way they did last night against BC, that ride back is going to feel as fast as that time-lapse video.
Absolutely, Allison. Thank you very much. Good to see you from a distance here at the Greensboro Coliseum. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, and Allison Williams. Louisville and Duke. How about this for a big-name second-round matchup? And yes, the Blue Devils just hoping to keep things going one day at a time. They're already, Jay, kind of in survive and advance mode here in the ACC Tournament.
Yeah, they have to continue to win for an opportunity to make the NCAA tournament as an at-large team. And Quinn Slazinski did a very nice job on that last possession on Matthew Hurt, forcing him to take a turnaround jumper, falling away. And Slazinski's got some size to him.
Early minutes for Josh Nickelberry for Louisville, a 6'4" sophomore from Fayetteville, North Carolina, as Dre Davis has gone to the bench with 2 fouls. What a pass from Carlik Jones, but Johnson can't finish.
And it was a fantastic cut by Johnson, and Withers was right there to tap it in. But right now Louisville cannot get anything to go offensively. They've had opportunities, but they've missed some layups and some close ones.
Mark Williams has gone to the bench for Duke. Henry Coleman III is in for the Blue Devils, the freshman from Richmond, Virginia. And there's a great example of Hurt keeping that ball way up high above his head.
That was almost a mover blocker type set. Looked a little bit like what Virginia does in their sides offense, but once Hurt had a smaller guy on him, they just lobbed it over the top. You got a smaller guy coming over.
Slazinski baseline and a foul on Hurt.
Yeah, that's exactly what Louisville wants to do, is try to attack Hurt at every opportunity to pick up a foul. But you saw Nickelberry got caught on the high side, and then you're bringing Carlik Jones over from the weak side. You don't have a whole lot of opportunity, and you're right. Hurt just kept that ball so high. And you know, when Hurt catches the ball on the perimeter, obviously that was in the post, but he gets that ball high and releases it high. It is Larry Bird-like in the way he shoots it. He's not as good a player as Larry Bird. Keep your cards and letters. but his release is so reminiscent of the way Larry Bird shot the ball.
You're not supposed to say keep your cards and letters. You're supposed to say don't at me.
I don't want that either. Actually, I don't mind it.
All kinds of people at home are saying, what are cards and letters?
You know, I still get cards and letters.
9-5 Duke early, leading by 4. This is the first game of the tournament for Louisville. They got a bye into this round. Duke had to beat Boston College in the 10-15 game last night to get here, as Goldwire's pass bounces out of bounds.
Not a particularly good angle for that pass. Even if Hurt caught it, he's catching it going toward the corner instead of going toward the basket.
Let me ask you something that you just said. You know, Hurt's got a foul now. Louisville would love to get him in foul trouble. How much of a conscious effort do you make to go at him almost every time down the floor to try to get him to pick up that second?
Well, I think you put him in as many ball screen situations as you can, and you put him in situations where he has to switch. But there are a lot of different actions that Louisville runs where they can try to take advantage of who they consider weaker defenders. It's not just Hurt they want to go after.
Goldwire to Williams, and a chance for 3.
Boy, the mistakes that Louisville's making on the offensive end is really hurting the Cardinals defense. they've been in scramble mode in transition on a couple different possessions, and that one especially. David Johnson loses it. All of a sudden, Duke is playing ahead of the Louisville defense. It's essentially 4-on-2, throwing back to Mark Williams, whose hands were ready, and then Carlik Jones, somewhat of a weak foul because Williams was able to finish the play.
So in the first meeting between these two teams back in January, Mark Williams did not play a single minute. He had not really established himself in the rotation at that point for Duke, but a lot of improvement through the middle point of the season. He was a big factor in the second game, and he's been a huge factor for the Blue Devils in general, Jay, over the last several weeks.
Yeah, last 13 games, he's averaging over 10 points, 6 rebounds, a couple of blocks, and shooting just under 70% from the field. And you can see what he's done in the last 6. But in the first game these two teams played, I mean, Duke couldn't keep anybody out of the lane. They played zone in a good bit of that game, and Carlik Jones was fantastic toward the end. They wound up fouling Matthew Hurt out by getting him on a switch and going after him, especially Carlik Jones. And in the second game, it was a totally different Duke team.
Louisville now just 2 for 11 from the floor to start this game. Let's bring in Allison.
Well, guys, Matthew Hurt won ACC Most Improved Player of the Year, but when I asked Coach Krzyzewski who he saw make the biggest strides this year, he said it was Mark Williams without hesitation. He mentioned the fact that there was points in January he couldn't even play him, but it's such a bigger jump for post guys versus perimeter guys when you go from high school to college. I'm really pleased with the physicality Mark has brought into his game and the way he's been able to impact games later in the season here.
You know, Allison, I didn't think you'd be the type of person that would take shots at a big guy like that. You know,
we share the same last name, so it's allowed.
I thought you were with us.
Always.
Mark Williams for Duke, Allison Williams with us, and one guy we don't see, unfortunately for Louisville, is Malik Williams, a terrific player who was coming back from foot surgery, actually played in 3 games, and then got hurt. Another foot injury in the Duke game just about a week and a half ago, and is out for several weeks. So in all likelihood, he is out for the rest of the season. And first of all, just a shame for him, you know, to go through significant injuries like this on multiple occasions. And it really changes their look. He'd be in there as the 5-man. He's the communicator, the leader. Defensively, they have to play a much different lineup without him.
No question. And such a great defender, excellent at guarding pick and roll, and a nice step back, but a difficult shot as the shot clock was winding down. And really, Louisville hasn't been able to get into the paint as much as they'd like. Duke's defense has really sunk in, and they're almost inviting Louisville to take perimeter shots with pressure rather than drive it.
Roach gets a switch. Goldwire hit 4 threes last night for the Blue Devils. Also a very good defender. This one is way off from the corner, and Williams just goes right over the top of J.J. Traynor for...
Well, J.J. Traynor was blocking him out, but he had his hands down around his waist. I mean, the ball almost hit him in the head. You know, if he caught that, all he had to do was put his hands up.
It was an air ball, and it did not get off the fingertips of Williams before the shot clock violation.
Well, you trim your fingernails, you get a bucket.
So it is 11-5, a low-scoring affair. The Cardinals 2 for 13. They've gone 6.5 minutes since their last made field goal. This is a guy who can help them. Strong drive and a reverse for Jalen Withers.
Well, Jalen Withers over his last 3 games has averaged 13 and 9. And he is a big, strong, athletic player that's the top freshman rebounder in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Redshirt freshman from your neck of the woods in Charlotte and a member of the ACC's all-freshman team. Jamin Brakefield, who played sparingly last night in the win over Boston College, kept it alive, but Williams a miss, and here come the Cards.
Well, it's amazing how many rebounds that Carlik Jones gets at his size.
And then how he gets where he wants to get about 99.9% of the time, it seems.
Top 5 in the league in scoring and assists, but also one of the best guard rebounders in the country. Heck, last year at Radford, he averaged 20 points, over 5 rebounds, and over 5 assists. He was the only player in the country to do that.
And he finished, in effect, tied for second for ACC Most Outstanding Player. Moses Wright of Georgia Tech won it, And then second in the voting at a tie, Carlik Jones and Justin Champagnie of Pitt, as all of a sudden Louisville's on a run.
Thanks to Jalen Withers. How about that shot? Contested, leaning back, and still gets it to go with touch. A terrific play going to the other side, majoring in English. And then Carlik Jones, the beautiful, almost Euro step.
Edward. First, it's on the women's side, High Point and number 12 Duke at 5 o'clock Eastern time. And then on the men's side, it's 7 o'clock Eastern, a ranked matchup between number 2 North Carolina and number 8 Virginia.
A lot of similarities between lacrosse and basketball, you know.
How so?
Similar screening actions. I know John Danowski, the head coach at Duke, used to be the head coach at Hofstra, won national championships, has spent a lot of time at basketball practices.
Mark Williams just going over the top of people. Louisville just doesn't have anybody with his length.
Well, he's also has the ability to move.
Expect to see huge minutes for the backcourt of Louisville, especially Carlik Jones, as Roach is called for the foul. In the last 3 Cardinals games, and remember the one with Duke went to overtime, Jones has played 124 out of 125 minutes over the course of those 3 games.
Wonder why they took him out.
But I'm sure Chris Mack immediately regretted it and put him back in. What was I thinking? Samuel Williamson is averaging a double-double over his last 6 games. Kind of spun into the double team there and put up a tough shot.
Yeah, just forced. And he's a very good mid-range player and an excellent rebounder. He's been one of the top rebounders in the league all season long, but especially over his last 7 or 8 games.
How do you like the matchup? And there will be switching, obviously, but a David Johnson on Matthew Hurt right now.
They've done that before, and I think it's a really good matchup because Johnson can help keep the ball away from him. And really nice cut by Wendell Moore, who has been playing very well of late. His last 3 games, he's had 4 steals in each of his last 3 games.
And all 5 starters for the Blue Devils have now scored. Duke by 4. Jones with Hurt on him. Shake and bake and knocks down the jumper.
Gives the impression he's going to drive, then a little step back. I think his eyes lit up as soon as he saw Matthew Hurt had switched off on him. I think both Hurt and Jones have to think, you know what? Last time I played against these guys, I lit it up.
That's right.
It's got to be a nice feeling.
Hurt with 61 points in the 2 games between these two. Jones with 49.
Well, a really nice job by Jalen Withers putting pressure on the ball to.
Boy, Williams, now he did miss the shot, but boy, is he playing with energy and confidence.
Wendell Moore with a really nice back cut. He was looking to go off for a handoff and instead cut it short. And then Carlik Jones, you give him that matchup, he's going to go at it every time.
Tech had a phenomenal close to the season, the last 5-6 games, and he actually wound up winning the voting rather easily.
I think all 5 of the first teamers garnered votes for Player of the Year. That's how close the call was.
I think even others. I think Jose Alvarado got a couple of votes, and he was named the Defensive Player of the Year in the league. Johnson a little bit short, and the rebound down to Moore.
Just short arm that. Louisville's getting opportunities. They just have to knock them down. Right now, a little bit of a different lineup. Henry Coleman into the ball game. Just isolation on the elbow for Hurt.
And not a whole lot you can do about that.
He just gives you a little jab step. And if you go for it at all, or if it just freezes you, he can get into that shot and rise up so quickly. And he's not on his jump shot. He doesn't really jump. He just gets into it quick, and he's got such a high and quick release.
Dre Davis back in there with a couple of fouls for the Cardinals. Coleman on Jones on the wing with a shot clock down to 7. Pass is deflected by Roach. Still Louisville ball.
Louisville fortunate there. Williamson should have cut to the basket quicker. There's a little jab step. It got Williamson to move back just a bit. And now all of a sudden you got a guy 6'9", 6'10", who has a really high release. How's Williamson going to get up there to bother it? He basically is bothering his elbow. That's about it. And Williamson's a good defender. It's just that's so difficult of a shot to bother.
And I think if you're Chris Mack, you can try Williamson, you can try Slazinski, you can try Johnson, you can try Withers, but none of them really is an ideal matchup against her.
Well, I don't know who is the ideal matchup. The ideal matchup is to go at him and make him guard. That's really the best you can do. And that happens with a lot of great scorers is you try to go at them on their defensive end and make them defend. One, see if you can wear them down a little bit, get into their legs. But two, with Hurts, see if you can pick up fouls on him. And Louisville's been successful the first 2 times these teams played. I mean, he fouled out of both games.
Led the ACC in scoring during the regular season. That was the 2nd foul on Jeremy Roach. Keep an eye on that. He remains in the game for the moment for the Blue Devils. Davis, baseline drive off the glass, too strong.
Matthew Hurt coming over from the weak side to bother that. Neither team has had a ton of success making shots on the offensive end. They're playing hard, but I haven't seen the ball go in the bucket.
Hurt 5 inches taller than Johnson. Over him and a foul.
What are you going to do? I mean, that's a perfect example of how high that release is. So Johnson's really athletic, and he's going right at the ball, but he can't get to it. And that ball was really kind of behind his head. I mean, that is awfully high. And still able to shoot it with touch and knock it in. That's a heck of a shooter right there. He can make so many different shots, whether it's a 3-point shot. He's got an excellent turnaround jumper in the post.
And he's into double figures with 10. The winner of this game will play the number 2 seed Florida State tomorrow night in a quarterfinal matchup.
Matthew Hurt's numbers are so good against Louisville, he might have to run in the Derby.
Slazinski, no. Williams down with a rebound, and the struggles continue for the Cardinals, shooting 27% so far.
And not really able to get to the rim. They got to the rim early, but Duke has been really covering things up.
Nice follow by Williams.
When Withers came over to try to block that shot, you know, it's a minimal chance to block it. He opened up the offensive glass for Williams. There was nobody there that could rotate over and box him out.
What a difference Mark Williams developing the way that he has makes for the Blue Devils. 6 points and 8 rebounds already in this game, including this follow tip.
And really, Withers didn't need to go block that shot. You know, force the tough 2. He had pretty good defensive coverage there. He went over to block it, and that opened up the offensive glass for Mark Williams. And Davis couldn't get over there to try to block him out.
Remember, the Cardinals have defeated the Blue Devils twice already this season, including just about 10 days ago. That game was in overtime, but Duke, the better team so far here tonight, led by Hurt and Williams. And again, big picture for the Blue Devils. They need wins, multiple wins, if they're going to make any kind of an NCAA tournament case. Again, the winner of this game will play Florida State tomorrow night. That would be a quarterfinal matchup. The good news, if you're a fan of the Blue Devils, is if you can keep winning, you're going to run into some good teams. You're going to have an opportunity to pick up quality wins, but they've obviously got their work cut out for them. Some people, I think Joe Lunardi is still saying that they've got to outright win the tournament and get the automatic bid, that even getting to the championship game might not be enough for them to get it at large, but we'll see how it plays out over the next few days if they keep winning.
Well, that's really the formula for every team. If you're at all concerned, is keep winning. There's nothing else you can do.
Syracuse, a bubble team with a nice win over NC State, and they will play the number 1 seed, the regular season champion Virginia Cavaliers, in a game you can see tomorrow afternoon.
But Duke is really packing it, and they're not even going out to the 3-point line.
And an air ball on a mid-range jumper by Withers. It's another empty possession for the Cardinals.
Well, Louisville is not a great shooting team. They struggle from the 3-point line. They're last in the ACC in 3-point field goals made. They've made 100 in their 19-20 games. Just a little over 5 made per game. And Duke is going to try to make them prove it from out there, and so they don't open up drives to the basket, cuts to the basket. So far, it's been very effective.
Louisville's best offense, Jay, is kind of when Carlik Jones can get into the paint and either finish or create for others.
Yes,
right?
yes. And when they get good cutting and good movement.
How about Mark Williams?
Boy, with the left hand, a little finger roll. Well, that was beautiful.
Next year, he's going to be a problem, don't you think?
He's a problem now.
Yeah. 8 points, 8 rebounds already for Williams here in the first half. Goldwire knocks it away and saves it.
Davis didn't look at the weak side. He was just passing to the offense, and Jordan Goldwire was there just reading the eyes of the passer as if he were a defensive back.
Williams headed to the free throw line. More good work on the offensive glass.
The previous possession for Mark Williams, you know, if you take Slazinski just tried to gamble, and when Withers came over to try to block the shot, he put it in his left hand and avoided that block shot with a beautiful little finger roll. That is not a move that you're going to see a lot of 7-footers with a 7'4" wingspan make.
Tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 a.m. on ACC Network, we will have the exclusive coverage of the Clemson Pro Day from their indoor practice facility. The Huddle's Jordan Cornette hosts along with Eric McLean, E.J. Manuel, and Mark Ricks. Some of the draft-eligible Tigers showcasing their skills for NFL scouts include Travis Etienne, Amari Rogers, Cornell Powell, DeAndre Overton, J.C. Chalk, and Adam Choice.
Did you know that Jordan Cornette was the all-time leading shot blocker at Notre Dame?
You know, I've heard rumors to that effect, but I've never seen like a graphic with that kind of evidence.
I have never seen a graphic either, but I've been told many times by one Jordan Cornette.
Yeah. And you know who he is one block ahead for that all-time Notre Dame blocks record.
I do know.
Yes. The Fonz. ACC, one of the best weeks, so much fun day by day as tickets are punched. Gonzaga, boy, they got a battle from BYU. BYU had a double-digit lead in the first half before Kispert and company wound up rolling to a victory, so they are undefeated heading into the NCAA tournament. Meanwhile, in terms of who's on the bubble, and right now Joe Lunardi says on the right side of the bubble, as we look at the last 4 buys, you see a couple of ACC teams in Louisville and Georgia Tech. What you don't see here is Joey Brackett's, after the Syracuse win over NC State, now has the Orange as the first team out, just on the wrong side of the bubble. But again, they've got an opportunity. You want to, this time of year, if you're a bubble team, you want to have a chance to play good teams and try to pick up a quality win. And Syracuse will play Virginia tomorrow.
That was a very interesting thing you and I talked about off air, that with Syracuse beating NC State was their quad 1 win. And by beating them, it might push them to quad 2, right? So if you win the game, you lose your quad 1 win.
If you win today, you diminish the value of a previous victory. This is by the NCAA net. And there's no way to do this perfectly, obviously, but yeah. So how do you think we should play this guy?
Well, right now, one of the things that Louisville's got to figure out is how they're going to get scoring opportunities with Duke packing it in, because Duke really hasn't guarded outside of the 3-point line. You know, they've had their toes on the line, but that's it. They've stayed inside that darker area leading up to the 3-point line, and they're essentially daring Louisville to shoot over the top and see if they can make threes.
And that's the first one they knocked down. David Johnson.
And you know, in the last time out, that Chris Mack was telling his team, look, you got to pull the trigger on these, that otherwise they're just going to stay packed in there. We got to make some to make them come out. I mean, they make 5 a game. They don't make a ton of them, but
Henry Coleman, strong move, but doesn't finish.
And a really good rebound by David Johnson. He's trying to box out Matthew Hurt at 6'10" and long.
Williamson, tough one over Coleman, and it goes down. And here come the Cardinals bit by bit, now back within 7.
And there's that mid-range game that we were just talking about for Samuel Williamson. He had Coleman on him, and rather than drive it all the way to the rim, just pulled up. Just a beautiful jump shot.
And Chris Mack told us during our Zoom call with him today, he said, you know, for Williamson, it's kind of about, you know, knowing where your strengths lie. And Mack said he never misses a mid-range jumper. Practice, game, never. And here they come. Carlik Jones with a 3, and all of a sudden it's a 10-0 run for the Cardinals.
And Louisville not walking the ball up anymore. They are pushing the ball up and pushing it up and getting quicker opportunities. Just refusing what looked like it was going to be a ball screen by Carlik Jones, and taking Coleman with a beautiful pull up, and then getting into the lane more in a transition mode and kicking it out to Jones for an open 3 when Duke was a little bit more in scramble mode in conversion. And after that last timeout, just a different looking Louisville team. They were looking to punch first instead of trying to counterpunch.
We alluded to it a little bit earlier. Such a disjointed season for the Cardinals. They had not one but 2 COVID pauses. The first one was about 2 weeks long. The second one was almost 3 weeks long. They've had some really good wins. Had a rivalry win early in the season over Kentucky. And that's always a big game, no matter what the 2 teams are doing. They've beaten Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, but then, Jay, blown out by Wisconsin, and in fairness, that was coming off one of their COVID pauses.
Without Carlik Jones.
Without Carlik Jones, yeah, because he was not able to play. COVID protocols. Blown out by North Carolina. Yet overall, it's been a good season for them. It just feels like it must have been a stressful season at times, an exhausting season at times for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think it has been, and I think there have been a lot of gut punches that they've taken with COVID, and there's Samuel Williamson again, and you know, even after a miss, you know, when Duke is getting back, you're seeing Louisville push the ball up court. They are not walking it up. They're not content to play 5-on-5. They want to get something early now and be more aggressive offensively, and it's certainly made them look like a better offensive team than they did early on.
And now a steal by Johnson, one-on-one with Goldwire. It's a 14-0 run for Louisville, and it's a tie game.
Boy, what a difference a timeout can make. I don't know what Chris Mack said, but if it was recorded, he could sell it to coaches around the country and make a lot of scratch.
I mean, there was no sign of this coming a few minutes ago, and now it's the Cardinals rolling. Williams can't get it into Hurt. It'll be Goldwire for 3.
Good job by J.J. Traynor.
And a push will result in a foul by Goldwire, and Louisville's got a chance to take the lead.
J.J. Traynor did a fantastic job of pressuring the ball so that Duke couldn't see inside on that little high-low to Matthew Hurt. And that's what you have to do, is take away vision. If you can discourage a pass discouraged is just as good as a pass denied. And that was a heck of a job to catch this ball by Nickelberry, and didn't look like there was much contact there, but some enough.
Nickelberry lost his shoe in the process, and now is at the line trying to give the Cardinals the lead. Their last lead was 4-3 back in the opening minutes of the game.
Just a remarkable turnaround in a very short period of time. I mean, it was all Duke up until a couple of timeouts ago, and Louisville had a completely different demeanor when they came out of that timeout and started playing faster. Looked to knock down a 3 in transition, got a couple of them to go, and it's really changed the complexion of this game.
And now they can't miss. 16-0 run, Cardinals.
There's a lot of contact on that drive.
And when you need a bucket, Duke goes to Matthew Hurt.
Louisville might have been better off if they called that foul. A baseline drive, baseline drift, as Matthew Hurt was deep in the corner.
And Hurt with 13 of Duke's 30.
Louisville can take it all the way down to the end of the shot clock, give them a little bit of time to tip it in, less time for Duke to take it the other way if they miss or make.
Jones looks up at the clock and hoists a deep 3. And Slazinski stepped out of bounds, so it'll go back to the Blue Devils with 5 seconds on the clock.
Plenty of time to get the ball down court. And Louisville's going to put a little token pressure. Carlik Jones will come up just so you can't get a running start, but
Moore to Baker. He lost it, and the Blue Devils will not get a shot off. And in spite of a big run by the Cardinals in the closing minutes of the half, it's Duke with a 1-point lead. But look at what Louisville did late to get right back into this game, Jay, as we head into halftime.
Well, that last timeout that Chris Mack took, everything changed, and Louisville was much more aggressive down the stretch and not only got back in the game, took the lead.
So Louisville closes on a 16-3 run. Here's Allison Williams with Louisville head coach Chris Mack.
Coach Mack, what did you say to your team in the huddle prior to that 16-0 run?
Just really disappointed with the fight that we had on the defensive end. You know, Duke's doing a great job. They're switching every screen. They haven't shown that really all year, so knew it was going to take a little bit of time to adjust to that. But like, if we're a sieve on this end, then we're always going to go against that set defense. And you know, it wasn't just the coaching staff talking. I thought our guys in the huddle stepped up and held each other accountable and went out there and defended like we know we're capable of.
What did you guys do better offensively to get the offense going and get those shots to start to fall?
Well, we have to drive the ball. When they have all these different mismatches on the floor, we have to do it without being stagnant. And, you know, we have a tendency sometimes to watch Carlik and David do their thing, but when they're building in a team defense after switches, we can't do that. And I thought what got us going, quite honestly, Allison, was just getting stops on the defensive end. We got out in transition. You know, Dave ends up getting the pull-up three, and you know, that sort of spurred it.
Chris, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
Dan?
All right, Allison, thank you. We got a good one, a 1-point lead for the Blue Devils over the Cardinals until you win the one that's right in front of you. So the Blue Devils kind of scratching and clawing, just trying to get to tomorrow. A 1-point lead for Duke. Hurt with 13. Mark Williams, 8 points, 9 rebounds, almost a double-double in the first half. And there's a quick foul on Hurt to begin the second half, his second foul.
It looked like it was going to be a handoff action, and instead of handing it off, Carlik Jones just kept the ball, went right into Hurt to pick up that foul.
If somebody said to you, Jay, describe Carlik Jones in one word, what would that word be?
Well, you just said it to me. Stud. I mean, he's a competitor.
He is.
And he knows how to play. It goes beyond sort of his ability level that he can shoot it, he can put it on the deck, he's a good passer, he rebounds, does all these things, but he just has a great understanding of how to play.
Big South Player of the Year last year with the Radford, a transfer, and he's put up, he's had a similar impact in the ACC as he had in the Big South, and that's saying something when you step up at that level of competition.
Yeah, I think so. And look, I think some of the things that he does translate to any level. I mean, I think he can play in the NBA, and I happen to believe he will. But Carlik Jones, I think Chris Mack said to us the first time these two teams played, he described him as a self-made player. And step back move, just couldn't get it to go. But he wasn't heavily recruited out of Cincinnati. In fact, you know, Chris Mack didn't recruit him for Xavier.
DJ Stewart, and the lead is 4.
That's a big shot for Stewart to get to go down. He's only shot 29% in the games against Louisville up to this point. That's a bad pass. It's leading to transition.
Johnson threw it right to Stewart. Good defense by Jones, but good hustle by Moore.
Yeah, good job by Wendell Moore Jr. to run the floor, not give up on that play. And you can see Duke just with their toes on the three-point line. They're not gonna give up an open three, but they want to stop penetration.
Louisville 2 for 9 from three-point range. Johnson and Jones each hit a 3 late in the first half. Withers over Williams, left it short, and Williams runs it down.
Just Williams' presence makes you rush that shot a little bit. You're maybe a little bit hesitant in going up because of his ability to get there and block that shot.
Hurt, and a foul.
Davis coming over to try to double team, just caught him on the arm. The pass ahead to DJ Stewart, and nobody there to pick it up. Carlik Jones deep in the lane. And that's why you want to pass ahead to get something easy in transition. And just really not a very smart pass by David Johnson. And Stewart just able to shoot the gap and take it the other way. And because of the hustle of Moore, they get an easy basket.
Dre Davis his third. Matthew Hurt at the line. 72% from the line on the season. If you had to guess, you'd probably actually guess it would be a little bit higher, considering what a great three-point shooter he is. As he splits a pair.
Maybe he'll just back up a little bit.
Yeah. Davis no, and Williams down with a rebound for Duke.
A little bit of a quick shot for Louisville, and that allows Duke to kind of get down the court quickly. And one of the things Louisville has to in finishing plays, and Jeremy Roach able to knock that down, but you finish plays that can help stop transition too by putting the ball in the basket, make your opponent take it out underneath.
So Duke on a 9-0 run to open the second half after it was all Louisville in the last 4 minutes or so of the first half. Williamson runs down the missed shot by Johnson, in a fresh possession now for the Cardinals. Hurt got a piece of that Davis attempt, and then Withers got it back and draws the foul.
Boy, Withers did a great job going after that ball after Davis missed that shot. He rebounded that out of his area. And Jeremy Roach, who has not shot the ball well against Louisville in the 2 games, he was 1 from 8 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3. That's a big shot for his confidence to go down in this game. I give Withers a lot of credit for going after that ball the way he did. A lot of big guys, they get the rebounds that come to them, but the special rebounders are the ones that rebound out of their area.
Unfortunately for Davis, Withers and he collided going after that loose ball. Davis shaken up. He goes to the bench as Quinn Slazinski has checked in for the Cardinals.
Withers' rebounding prowess on the offensive end shows up in the stats. He almost gets 3 offensive rebounds per game. That's top 7 in the league, and that's a heck of a rebound. But he took a little knee to the midsection there.
Couple of free throws for Withers. First points of the second half for the Cardinals. The winner to play Florida State, the number 2 seed in the ACC, in one of the quarterfinal matchups tomorrow night. 4 more games coming your way tomorrow from Greensboro. They will all be either on ESPN or ESPN2. And it'll be the first appearance tomorrow for the top 4 seeds, who each earned a double bye heading into the ACC tournament. Those would be Virginia, Florida State, Virginia Tech, and Georgia Tech.
Looked like Mark Williams tipped that ball in. Talk about rebounding out of your area. Able to tip that in with the right hand. David Johnson still guarding Matthew Hurt on Louisville's defensive end.
And Williams now with a double-double, 10 points, 12 rebounds, and that's a big bucket for Louisville, with Slazinski knocking down a corner 3.
Just a beautiful pass by Carlik Jones. The skip pass, one-handed. Moore. And like he stepped out of bounds. Carlik Jones, just a cross-court skip to the opposite corner, and Quinn Slazinski was ready to shoot when it arrived. It was right in his shooting pocket, didn't have to move it at all in order to get into his motion.
Is that an underrated aspect of the pass? It's not just getting the ball there, it's getting the ball in a spot where the guy can just catch and shoot right
Absolutely.
away.
Absolutely. If he doesn't have to readjust it, getting into the shooting pocket is a huge fact.
Beat Wake Forest last night by closing on a 17-2 run, including a Trey Wertz 3 at the closing horn as time expired to win the game for the Irish.
Well, thanks to a tremendous defensive play by Cormac Ryan and a terrific pass as well. What a great job by Mark Williams to be so active in posting up. He made himself open by his activity level. And your point about Miami, the Hurricanes, there are so many teams this year that can claim they have battled valiantly through adversity. I'm not sure any team, certainly any team in this league, has battled as much adversity this year as Miami has. How about that? Slazinski deflects the pass, the inbounds pass, had it in his fingertips, and then loses it to Mark Williams for an easy basket.
12 points, 12 rebounds, and a lot of time left. Mark Williams is on his way to a huge night. Duke is up 9. Williamson, no. Rebound, Moore.
Well, that was a tough shot because Matthew Hurt was right there with a hand up.
Quick one from Roach, and the lead grows for the Blue Devils.
Roach is seeing a big basket after he knocked down that last 3. And you have to think that the shots that Duke was able to knock down against Boston College last night, hitting 15 threes, has bled over into this game. The pass ahead, and Carlik Jones just had his hand down a little bit, couldn't discourage that shot, and he allowed Jeremy Roach just to measure it and step in to that 3.
Duke is now 6 for 13 from beyond the arc. 4 different Blue Devils have knocked down at least 1 3 already.
The ball's got to move. If Louisville's going to drive it, they're going to have to drive it off of ball reversals.
Slazinski, with the shot clock running down, had to hoist one from deep.
And not a good possession for Louisville. Just too much standing around.
And Williams just going to work. Slazinski doing everything he can, but he's just given up so much length to Mark Williams.
Williams doing a great job, one, of running the floor and then establishing that position and working hard. He wants the ball. He's calling for it. And you're more likely to get it from your teammates. But look how many bodies there are in the paint. You're not driving anywhere. And instead of the ball moving from side to side where you can move that defense around, Louisville didn't change sides with the ball. And you're attacking. You got 10 eyes on you all the time. And Duke's defense didn't have to move, didn't have any exchanges, no screens, no cuts. Louisville was awfully easy to guard for Duke on that possession.
Allison?
Well, guys, Mark Williams following in some pretty big footsteps at Duke. His sister Elizabeth was the freshman of the year for them in 2012, defensive player of the year, and a 4-time member of first team All-ACC. And it's really because of her that he started to fall in love with Duke. He said he'd come to her games and he'd be like the loud, crazy brother behind the bench. And when he went to the UNC Duke game in Cameron is when he realized what a special place it could be.
And she was a special player in that program. Her jersey's up in the rafters at Cameron, right?
Yeah, amazing player.
Good look for Williamson on the feed from Jones, and the follow for Johnson.
Just that action got the shot. And because Duke was in rotation, it's harder to get a block out. David Johnson able to go in and get that offensive rebound. Just the movement and the ball movement
of the 2021 New York Life ACC Tournament. All Duke early, all Louisville late in the first half. Pretty much all Duke here early in the second half as the Blue Devils are out to an 11-point lead, with the winner advancing onto a quarterfinal matchup with Florida State tomorrow night.
That baby never ages.
I know. We've been seeing the same baby for years.
Benjamin Button baby.
All Cardinals, as we mentioned, at the end of the first half. But how about in the second half? Duke is 6 for 7 from the field, and Louisville is 2 for 12.
Part of that's been the quality of shot. And Louisville's going to have to make some things happen with defense right now. Got a 1-2-1-1 3/4 court press. Hurt.
And a block is the call.
Here we go. We got 2. Here we go.
Check out the ACC Championship Hub for everything you need to know about the ACC Tournament, including exclusive Chalk Talks, highlights, games, and prizes. Accessible from the ACC mobile app or ACCChampHub.com. Third foul on Williamson sends Hurt to the line. This tournament was originally supposed to be in Washington, D.C., but because of COVID, it was determined that it would be best to move it back here to Greensboro, perhaps less travel in a smaller city, maybe fewer people around. So this has always kind of been seen as the traditional home of the ACC tournament. It's been in Greensboro more than it's been in any other city, and Washington was given the next available year, which is 2024.
Louisville needed that one by David Johnson. An easy bucket to answer on the other end. Nobody back. And that's an odd mistake to make after you score.
Does anything make a coach madder than somebody not getting back?
Probably turnovers. Recruiting mistakes.
And Moore reaches in and knocks Nickelberry down. So how did Williams get 15 feet behind the defense here?
Just a lack of communication. Yeah, you got J.J. Traynor didn't get back and nobody covered up for him.
And you can see Traynor kind of pleading with his teammates like, guys, I needed some help there. Traynor out, Withers back in. Boy, he's crafty.
Oh,
Everything.
how did he get that up on the rim? Not only did it almost go in, but that's against a guy with like a 7'3", 7'4" wingspan.
So how does he do it, Jay? He's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy. He might be the craftiest guy. Is it the handle? How does he get where he wants to go?
It's a whole bunch of things. I mean, he's quicker than he gets credit for. I know that. You don't blow by people without having some jets. But what he really does at the end is he's able to get into the body of the defender and draw that contact and still separate, which is really difficult to do. He's got a unique ability to body seek. So he seeks out the body of the defender and creates the contact, but is still able to, keep his eyes on the rim and oftentimes finish that play. But he shoots so many free throws. He puts the defender in a position to foul and takes advantage of it. That's a skill, getting fouled and drawing fouls.
Boy, what a nice play there by Williamson to get Louisville the ball back. Jones, we mentioned in the last 3 games that Carlik Jones has played 124 of a possible 125 minutes. That's a great play by Williamson. Jones has not come out of the game tonight, nor has Johnson. The starting backcourt's been in there every second for the Cardinals.
That's what makes a coach mad, is when you take out a guy for a minute. Take Carlik Jones out for a minute. Got to switch.
They've been down at this end of the court for a while. They got to make it pay off. Nickelberry. And another offensive rebound. Time of possession favoring the Cardinals heavily. But can they get some points out of this trip? They will not.
It's just a difficult shot. It's not that it's a shot that Carlik Jones has not made, cannot make. Of course he can make it. But the ball has not moved enough from one side of the floor to the other and back. And so the Duke defense has remained set.
Shot clock at 7. Goldwire into the paint, won't go.
But Goldwire had a terrific offensive game against BC last night.
Duke winning easily, 86-51. And there's Nickelberry knocking down a 3, and it's down to single digits.
The overwhelming majority of Nickelberry's field goal attempts or 3-point attempts.
A nice bit of encouragement for these men who are now embarking and trying to get their lives back on track and embarking on a new journey or a new career.
Outstanding. You know, this has been such a hard year for so many people, obviously, over the last year, and every little bit helps. And that's a terrific gesture by ACC coaches.
A suit to provide, maybe a Hawaiian shirt or something. When was the last time you wore a suit in a game?
The last time that he did?
Yeah.
Been years and years. I mean, he went, remember, he had his kind of his mock turtleneck phase, right? He went through a mock turtleneck phase for several years.
Yeah.
A decade, or maybe he's ahead of his time. It's
He's
really
way
fun.
ahead of his time. Yeah. He's way ahead of his time. Can you imagine back, Connie Mack used to wear a suit to a baseball game.
Williams again, and you've talked about how active he is. He just never stops moving.
And it was a great pass by DJ Stewart to see him as the clock was winding down. But a lot of big guys stand around, but he looks for openings, and he always thinks he's open, and he keeps working, keeps posting, finding an angle and waiting for the ball to get to the angle. And he's having not a good game. He's having a great game in this one. 16 points now. He's got 12 rebounds. And his efficiency, it's not like he's been taking three-point shots, but he makes everything around the rim.
And again, with Malik Williams injured for Louisville after suffering another foot injury 10 days ago, there's just no great matchup in this situation for Louisville. So they've not only got to worry about Matthew Hurt, who obviously is the primary concern that you have whenever you come into a game with Duke. Now you got to worry about Mark Williams as well.
Matthew Hurt was essentially in the lane, not guarding Slazinski. And Slazinski's out by the three-point line. They never got him the ball, never reversed it to that side. You know, if Louisville's going to keep the ball to one side of the floor, they're going to be playing 3-on-5 for the whole second half.
Moore into Williams. Trainer slaps it away.
Trainer leads Louisville in block shots. It's not a shot blocking team, but he's a terrific athlete.
Offensive rebound, Williamson. Great cut by Johnson. Off to Trainer and a foul.
Boy, what a play by Johnson. He's another guy having a terrific game. David Johnson's got 9 rebounds in this game, 8 or 9 rebounds, and he's got a few turnovers, but he's been all over the place in this one.
Strong for a guard, isn't he?
He's just so athletic and dynamic.
The Nothing But Net crew will be back after we finish up our game. They've been working all day and all night, and after Notre Dame and North Carolina, they'll recap the day and look ahead to the quarterfinals tomorrow right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. That is Kelsey Riggs, Luke Hancock, Carlos Boozer, and Dallin Cup. They are the hardest working people in show business. And I guess that means they're back at it tomorrow, because they're day and night, because there are 4 more games tomorrow here from Greensboro.
Best time of year. Good slip, but just went off of Williams. I don't think he likes the call. Williams just slips this little screen, and Slazinski touched it first, so it did look like Williams got it. Obviously didn't think he did.
Duke by 9. In a game that they have led almost the entire way. Oh, that would have been a big bucket for Johnson. He's a little bit frustrated. That's not something he misses very often.
Yeah, to get all the way to the rim, and Louisville had that happen several times in the first half early on in the game. Just opportunities around the rim and not finishing. And that's one where Johnson would 9 times out of 10 finish that thing with a layup or a dunk. You just don't get that many easy opportunities.
Kind of amazing. Louisville shooting 31%, Duke's over 46%, and it's only a 9-point game. And again, another pretty good look, but the shots aren't dropping for the Cardinals.
They've been all jump shots, except for that drive to the bucket by Johnson, where he wasn't able to get going.
Williamson on Hurt right now. Johnson is on Williams at the moment.
Just decided to isolate Matthew Hurt at the elbow. Switch pivot feet there.
And still knocks it down.
I think the referee thought he must have lost control of the ball.
You know, that's the kind of play last year and 20 pounds ago. Matthew Hurt probably doesn't recover to make that play. He's much stronger this year.
That's a big time finish. He switched pivot feet there too, but yeah, he walked all over the place. But I guess the referee thought that maybe he lost control of the ball. But as soon as he caught it on the elbow, he switched his pivot feet, and then he switched it again there. But they didn't call it any of those walks.
Hurt again, the most improved player in the ACC this year, and a first-team All-ACC performer.
Just a spectacular shooter. I mean, it's remarkable the different shots he can make and the uncanny accuracy with which he shoots the ball.
Now the foul going against the Blue Devils underneath. Looks like it's Roach. Mike Krzyzewski kind of nostalgic about coaching games here in Greensboro, Jay. This is the 40th ACC tournament game that Mike Krzyzewski has coached in this building. He has won 15 ACC Tournament championships. Not all here in Greensboro, but this tournament has always meant a lot to him, and coming to Greensboro has always meant a lot to him.
Well, it's kind of like the Rose Bowl being in Pasadena. There are a lot of people that think that the tournament belongs here, but the ACC footprint is so big now. They've moved it around. It's been, years back was in Atlanta, and we've seen it in Washington D.C., and for several years it was up in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn next year, Greensboro the year after that, and Washington D.C. in 2024. Jones almost came up with a steal. Stewart recovers, misses, and Jones down with a rebound. And Jones behind the back, doing a little bit of everything.
Good pass.
They need this one, and they will get it. J.J. Trainor's got him within 8.
Traynor is an athletic big guy that plays above the rim. He shoots 44% from 3. Just doesn't take a lot of them. It's a big possession here.
And it'll be Trent. They kind of get it going, get back to being themselves. But, it's one thing for that to happen in the regular season. You don't get a second opportunity in the postseason.
You have to be ready here with the block out, because Mark Williams is not a great free throw shooter. He knocks that down, but he missed a couple earlier in the game, and Duke was able to get an offensive rebound that came off a little bit hard. He shoots a good ball. He's going to be a good free throw shooter.
And he gets them both. A game of runs early and into this second half, but it kind of feels like it's been bouncing back and forth between about 8 and 12 the last several minutes. The Cardinals just can't string together enough consecutive made shots to really make a game of it. Slazinski will try, misses the 3, and yet another rebound for Mark Williams, his 15th of the night.
He has just had a fantastic game, but again, Duke really didn't have to move all that much defensively. They were packing the lane, packing the paint.
Good opportunity there for Hurt, a little bit strong.
Toward the end of the first half, Louisville's getting the ball down the court quickly, and they've been walking it up in this second half. It's been a 5-on-5 half-court game, and that's advantage Duke.
Jones around Goldwire and around Williams to lay it in with a left hand.
Just a remarkable finish by a great player. To use that left hand to get around a shot blocker, and took the contact as well. He was asking for a foul. The officials wouldn't give it to him.
Joe Lunardi's got Louisville as one of the last 4 buys, has them in as a 10 seed right now as Williams scores again, the assist to Goldwire.
Boy, that's just a really nice play. You just throw it up to the rim after the little screen roll action in the middle of the floor. The ball is going to draw some defenders, and boy, Carlik Jones is upset. The official is talking to him to keep quiet, but he feels like he's drawing contact and not getting rewarded with a foul call. But he's gotten both those shots to go in a furrowed brow down the stretch.
And it kind of feels like Louisville's best and maybe only opportunity is Carlik Jones just kind of willing them to a victory tonight. He's been in takeover mode the last couple of times down the court. Williams, no.
Good pass.
And a good look for Williamson. Misses the corner 3.
Well, didn't make it, but that was a really good look.
21 points and 16 rebounds in 28 minutes for Mark Williams. Again, this was a guy who barely played the first half of the season, but the coaching staff of the Blue Devils said he just made rapid improvement in the middle part of the year, really started picking up the concepts, understanding the physicality required, and he's become a huge factor for them down the stretch.
Boy, Stewart had 2 opportunities there. It was a great drive, just couldn't get it to go. That shot fake really gave him the opportunity. How about that move?
Can't finish though, and here come the Blue Devils with numbers. Goldwire, Hurt.
A spectacular pass. And what a turnaround there.
Goldwire averaging about 4 assists per game. and among league leaders in assist to turnover ratio in the ACC as well. Williamson another miss, and Williams, what else is new? Another rebound.
That was snatched with one hand. Just that right hand grabbed the ball and corralled it in. That's a big time rebound by Mark Williams.
The clock just keeps on ticking, and the Blue Devils still have a 10-point lead, looking for a date with Florida State in a quarterfinal tomorrow night. Shot clock at 2. Williams again. Nothing Trainer can do.
Trainer trying to block out, but his hands were again wrapped around Mark Williams, and he's just able to go over the top of him. Mark Williams has had some great games over his last 13. This may be his best. 17 rebounds, 6 of them offensive, 21 points, leaving no doubt who the biggest man in this game is.
ACC Network Basketball is brought to you by New York Life, helping people act on their love for 175 years. For 4, Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets, featuring ACC Player of the Year Moses Wright, will make their first appearance tomorrow during the day session. The 1 and the 4 play during the day. The 2 and the 3 will play tomorrow night. So the 2, Florida State, will play the winner of this game. And looking more and more, thanks to Mark Williams and company, looking more and more like it'll be Duke.
He certainly put them in that position with 3:42 left in regulation. While we were away, Williams had a bucket and a rebound. I shorted him. I said he had 21 and 17. He's got 23 and 18.
Yeah.
So
we're checking, but we believe it's the first time anybody's ever had a bucket and a rebound during a commercial. But that's how good he's been tonight.
But see, if I didn't do that way, I'd have to admit I made a mistake, and I'm not going to do that.
No. I'm still waiting on the first one of those. 10-point game, 3.5 to go. Remember, the second game in as many nights for the Blue Devils. The good news was they beat BC so handily. They really rested a lot of regulars down the stretch. This is a different kind of game. Everybody's still in there. You just got to take them one at a time. They need to string some wins together to have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament.
Nice little play out of the timeout. Stewart set a little back screen for Matthew Hurt, got a switch, and then he got a shot out top. So you're going to have one or the other, and there's another rebound by Mark Williams.
It's like he's a magnet tonight or something. Every single ball. That's his 19th rebound.
He's had some big rebounding games, but nothing quite like this.
And he never stops moving at either end of the floor.
His feet are so good, he can go out and set that ball screen, and then, well, he starts making these. Forget it. He's got a really good stroke and a nice touch. Nice throwback.
Davis from the corner. Would have made it a 7-point game. They just can't make that big shot when they need it to really make a game of it.
Well, Louisville is not a great three-point shooting team. I think we mentioned before they're last in the league in three-pointers made. They make about 5 a game. And Duke was relying on giving them the opportunity to take those, but not letting them have anything toward the basket.
And an over and back call on the Blue Devils. Now, how did they know? I guess it's up on the scoreboard, but he appears to know how many rebounds he has, because he's got 19, but it does not look like he's going to get the opportunity to get number 20.
You don't think he's going to put him back in?
Well, looks like he is. Took him out, but he's going to put him back in. That happened in the Syracuse game today. Buddy Boeheim had 27 and hoisted up a couple of threes late, didn't make them, and then eventually Jim Boeheim took Buddy out.
Now this is just about making free throws and salting this away.
You know, again, a couple of weeks ago, the Blue Devils had put some wins together, and their overall case was looking better. And then an overtime loss to Louisville, an overtime loss at Georgia Tech. And then you and I had our Zoom call with Mike Krzyzewski the day before the Carolina game, and he said, you know, it's been the year of almost. Up until that Carolina game on Saturday, every single ACC loss they had was by 7 or fewer points. They had been in every game, but you could kind of see a bit of a mental toll that it had taken, obviously, to lose so many close games. Roach has it altered. Stewart follows up and knocks it in, but they're playing for something. They still got a lot more work to do, but this has been a really energetic, connected performance by the Blue Devils tonight.
Yeah, it's been gritty, and to do it where you're able defensively to shut down Louisville and hold them to 30% from the field. I mean, it's unusual to see Louisville struggle to score like this. It has been an excellent defensive performance by Duke, and Mark Williams has been the star of the show without question. Matthew Hurts had a terrific game. Those two have combined for 43 points. They're 16 of 26 from the field, but those 19 rebounds, 7 of them offensive. That's a big time performance by the freshman.
Time now for tonight's player of the game, brought to you by Zaxby's. No surprises here, Jay.
Yeah, you're going to go with Mark Williams. I think it's a good call.
Yeah.
We don't miss anything.
No. Well, other than the 2 points in the rebound during the timeout. So yeah. And Williams back in there. Hurts gone out, and presumably they're just giving him a chance to pick up his 20th rebound. A little dejection for Carlik Jones and the Cardinals. Again, they appear to be safe. You would think they are going to hear their name called on Selection Sunday, but you hate sweating it out for a few days unless you're absolutely sure. Chris Mack has brought in some players deeper in his rotation. Charles Minland is in. Gabe Wisnitzer is in for the Cardinals.
Minland, a transfer from USF, University of San Francisco, where he played in the West Coast Conference, and an excellent scorer for the Dons.
13. Yo, you want that shit, right? Get it.
Yeah, has been trying to come back from a knee problem this year that's been slow to respond. Mark Williams really wanting that basketball and that 20th rebound. It'll be Stewart on the breakaway. And the exclamation point on a victory for the Blue Devils. Give you a strange one. The two teams who are going to meet in the quarterfinal tomorrow night didn't meet during the regular season. The Duke-Florida State game was canceled due to a COVID issue in the Seminoles program. So I don't think we've ever said that before. We got two teams meeting in Champ Week who didn't meet in the regular season.
Yeah, Florida State is a deep, athletic team, and that's going to be a fun ball game.
The Blue Devils will advance to the quarterfinals to take on the Seminoles as they win for the second time in as many nights. And again, they still got some work to do, but they have taken another step in the right direction with a 14-point win over Louisville here in round 2.
They also got a long bus trip back to Durham.
That's right. 45 minutes on the bus back to Durham, turn around and come back here tomorrow night to face Florida State. Louisville will inbound it one last time, and that'll do it.
Keep getting on the bus. Got a couple more bus trips to go at least.
The final score, Duke 70 and Louisville 56 here in second round action of the 2021 New York Life ACC Tournament. The Blue Devils will take on